Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're pushing past all the noise, really, the data economy noise, to ask something, well, pretty fundamental about leadership.
Mhm.
We live in this world, just saturated with information. You've got the glowing dashboards, the real-time analytics,
Yeah.
and professionals who, let's be honest, pride themselves on being totally informed.
Right.
And yet, somehow, in this age of knowing everything, leaders often feel, well, starved of actual clarity.
It's a huge paradox, isn't it? It
Yeah.
really is. We've mastered the art of knowing things, accumulating data,
Yeah.
but we seem to have collectively forgotten the discipline of discerning, of figuring out what actually matters.
Okay.
And we've pulled some source material today that argues pretty compellingly, I think, that wisdom is actually the rarest leadership currency right now.
The rarest currency.
Wow. It's seen as the only thing truly essential for navigating this, the VUCA environment everyone talks about. Volatile, uncertain, complex,
Right.
ambiguous.
VUCA. It defines so much of modern professional life. So our mission today, then, is to really unpack wisdom, define it, explore its foundation, which turns out to be pretty ancient and enduring, and look at practical, actionable ways you can actually cultivate this quality. The quality our sources call the one thing that can never be automated.
Which is a powerful claim in itself, right?
That really is.
So we start here, and this kind of frames our whole deep dive today.
Mm.
What if the smartest person in the room, the one with all the facts, the best algorithms, what if they aren't actually the wisest?
And what's the cost? What's the price if we confuse those two things?
Big question.
Okay, let's dive right in then, because the sources draw this really crucial, fascinating line between three concepts we tend to just mush together: knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom. Where does the breakdown start?
Yeah, that breakdown is absolutely essential for clarity. Let's sort of establish the hierarchy. First up, knowledge.
Okay.
Knowledge is purely the accumulation of facts, information, skills. It's simply knowing what is.
Like knowing the steps in a process or the details of a market report.
Yeah. Precisely. If you know the quadratic formula, or the steps for performing surgery, or the code for a new app, that's knowledge you possess.
Got it. It's the input, the
Yeah.
stuff you learn, the data points.
Exactly. Input is a great word for it.
Yeah.
Then next up, we have intelligence.
Okay.
This is the capacity to acquire that knowledge and then, crucially, to apply it. Intelligence is the engine, you could say.
Yeah.
It lets you reason, solve problems, adapt.
So it's knowing how to use what you know.
You got it. Think of a brilliant strategist or maybe a top-tier programmer. They demonstrate high intelligence. They can manipulate the knowledge effectively.
But I want to pause you there for a second, because often the smartest, most intelligent people are the most successful, right? In conventional terms, anyway.
Sure.
Is the source material arguing that intelligence is like a bad thing, or it's just not the whole story?
Definitely the latter. It's arguing it's insufficient, especially now. Intelligence is absolutely a prerequisite for many kinds of success, no doubt. But pure intelligence often gets focused on, say, efficiency, short-term profitability, immediate problem solving. It asks, how can I win this specific negotiation? Or how do I optimize this process right now?
Ah, I see. And wisdom, it shifts that focus.
It leaps past the immediate. Wisdom is the, let's call it, judicious application of both knowledge and intelligence. But, and this is key, it's guided by discernment, by moral understanding, and crucially, a long-term perspective.
So knowing why and knowing when, not just what and how.
Exactly. The sources really emphasize this. Knowledge informs the mind, gets the facts in there, but wisdom directs the heart. It judges the ethical path of an action, not just its immediate chance of success.
The analogy the sources provide is really helpful here, I think, for visualizing it.
Yeah, the building analogy.
Yeah, imagine building like a major new library or something. Knowledge gives you all the raw materials, the steel, the concrete, the surveys of the
All the
land.
necessary stuff, yeah.
Intelligence provides the tools, the blueprints. It figures out the engineering, the load-bearing walls, the traffic flow inside.
The functional design. Make sure it stands up, works efficiently.
Right. But wisdom is the master builder's deep insight. It's ensuring the structure isn't just technically sound or cost-effective. It's making sure it serves a true, enduring public good, that it's beautiful, fits the city's character.
And built on a foundation that'll last, not just survive the next budget cycle, but for 100 years.
Exactly. Without that wisdom, we risk building things that are technically brilliant, but ultimately short-sighted, maybe even failures in the long run.
Well put. Which leads us nicely into where the sources really ground this argument for wisdom's kind of supreme value. They draw on this incredibly famous historical example.
King Solomon.
King Solomon,
Yeah.
from 1 Kings 3 in the Hebrew Bible. Solomon inherits this huge kingdom quite young, and he's basically offered anything he wants. Incredible power, vast wealth, victory over enemies.
The ultimate wish list.
Totally. And what does he choose? He chooses wisdom. But crucially, look at how he asks for it. He asks for a discerning heart to govern.
A discerning heart.
And specifically the ability to distinguish between right and wrong.
Okay, so why does this ancient kind of faith-based story resonate so strongly with, say, modern business ethics or leadership challenges?
Because it nails the root of genuine leadership, doesn't it? Solomon didn't ask for the fruits of success, the power, the money. He asked for the root system needed to lead justly, the internal compass.
Okay.
And the source material notes, God was pleased precisely because he asked for the foundation, the wisdom, and then the fruits, the wealth and honor, they followed naturally. The enduring message seems to be universal. Decisions built just on cleverness or, brute force intelligence, they often crumble or fade. But those rooted in discernment, they endure because they align with something deeper, maybe even moral laws.
That distinction, cleverness versus discernment, feels incredibly relevant right now in our super fast-paced world. Cleverness, pure technical skill, it expires faster than ever. Technology just races ahead. Algorithms can process data. They can even execute really intelligent strategies.
They can. But here's the thing an algorithm can't do. It can't choose the path of integrity when that path conflicts with, say, maximizing immediate profit.
Right.
It can't weigh the spiritual cost or the moral cost of taking the easy way out, the expedient path.
Yeah.
Algorithms replicate intelligence remarkably well.
Yeah.
They don't replicate discernment. And that makes wisdom perhaps the most underdeveloped, yet ultimately the most vital leadership capacity in an age where almost everything else is being digitized.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, like corporate stewardship or just leading a team, the wise leader is constantly asking this sort of meta question, aren't they? Amidst all the noise, the demands.
What's the question?
Does this plan, this strategy, does it align with what's right, not just what's profitable right now or efficient?
Yes. And that shift, moving from just reacting to crises to actually leading with purpose, driven by values, that's what the source material calls the compass of wisdom mindset.
Purposeful influence, not just reactionary management.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's maybe make this concrete. The source has a really good case study that shows this tension in a modern boardroom, Eco Solutions, Inc.
Right. CEO Sarah at Eco Solutions. So she's facing intense pressure. A rival, Fastpack, is just flooding the market with cheaper, probably lower quality stuff.
Undercutting them.
Yeah, so Sarah's quarterly profits are taking a hit. The board's getting nervous, demanding quick result.
Classic pressure cooker.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the pressure is intense to make the quote-unquote intelligent move, cut corners ethically, switch to cheaper, less sustainable materials, maybe outsource to places with questionable labor practices, all to compete on price and boost those quarterly numbers fast.
And let's be clear, the purely intelligent move based on short-term economics is compelling here. Run the numbers. The spreadsheet probably screams, slash costs immediately, defend your market share, maximize shareholder return now. From a purely rational, maybe even self-interested view, that looks like the smart play to survive the quarter.
Exactly. And she does have a fiduciary duty to shareholders for profit, right? Isn't ethical stewardship sometimes a luxury you, can't afford when you're under attack like that? This feels like the crossroads where smart people make bad long-term calls.
It absolutely is that crossroads.
Yeah.
But wisdom recognizes that the cost of losing your integrity is never zero. It might not show up on this quarter's balance sheet, but it shows up. So Sarah pauses. She engages that discerning heart we talked about. She looks past the immediate quarterly report.
What does she see?
She weighs the long-term impact, tarnishing a brand reputation built over a decade on stewardship, betraying the company's core environmental values, alienating the very customers, the ethically conscious ones who built her brand in the first place.
Okay, so she sees the hidden costs. But what does wisdom tell her to do then? She can't just absorb the losses indefinitely.
No, wisdom isn't passive. It compels her to find the third way, the path that aligns with enduring values, but is still proactive.
Okay.
So she doesn't just trash her company's values, but she doesn't just sit there and fail either. Instead, she generates wisdom-driven alternatives. She looks for process efficiencies within their sustainable framework. She maybe doubles down on marketing their unique ethical value proposition, making integrity a competitive advantage, not a liability.
So she chooses ethical stewardship over the immediate short-term profit spike. She protects the enduring value of the brand, the trust, over the fleeting value of one good quarter driven by bad practices.
Precisely. And that ability, that willingness to pause, to choose the path aligned with, let's say, justice or core principles rather than just expediency, that's what the source material credits to something it calls spiritual insight.
Okay, spiritual insight.
Ah.
For a professional audience, how does that translate? Does it have to be explicitly religious?
Not necessarily in a denominational sense. It translates more broadly to having an unshakable, non-negotiable set of core values, principles that supersede situational convenience or pressure, a commitment to something beyond just the material or the immediate.
Got it. So those unshakable core values, that insight, it provides two critical things for a leader navigating ambiguity.
That's right. First, moral clarity. It helps leaders choose the path that feels right, aligned with maybe justice or compassion, even when that path is harder or more expensive in the short term.
Resisting expediency.
Exactly. And second, long-term perspective. It constantly reminds us that our decisions today have ripple effects. They go far beyond the current P&L statement. They shape culture, brand legacy, community trust, everything.
Okay, so we've defined this compass of wisdom. We've seen its ancient roots. We've watched it save a CEO in a case study. Now, the really practical part, how do we, the listener, how do we actually practice this? How do we calibrate this compass daily?
Yeah, good question. The source material is actually very clear here. The fundamental discipline is reflection. Consistent, deliberate reflection.
Just pausing.
Pausing, yes, but actively seeking alignment. Learning to stop amidst the craziness and ask yourself, maybe daily, does this action I'm about to take, this plan we're considering, even this email I'm about to send, does it align with my highest principles? With truth, with justice, with our core values?
Wow, that's a total shift from the default mode, isn't it? Which is usually just reactive. Answer the urgent email, put out the immediate fire.
Exactly. We're usually just reacting to the crisis of the moment. This practice forces you, or trains you rather, to be responsive to a higher standard, a deeper truth.
Responsive, not reactive. I like that.
It trains your mind, and maybe your heart too, to habitually orient towards discernment. And the sources offer a really practical tool for this calibration process: retrospective analysis.
Okay, retrospective analysis. Let's walk through that exercise. You take a recent decision, right? Professional or personal, and you map how wisdom could have improved the outcome.
Yeah. Think about a decision you made under pressure maybe last week. Perhaps you rushed something out the door because a competitor made a move. Or maybe you hired someone quickly, focusing only on cost.
Okay, let's use that vendor example from before. Say I needed new software quickly. I chose vendor A, cheapest, available immediately. I passed on vendor B, more expensive, but way more experience, better client feedback.
Perfect example. So first, analyze that choice just through the lens of knowledge and intelligence.
Okay, facts. Vendor A was 30% cheaper. Logic? Maximize budget efficiency. Seems intelligent based on immediate cost.
Right. The smart move on paper for the short term. Now, reevaluate it with the compass of wisdom. What might the discerning heart have seen or considered?
Okay, wisdom might have looked at the long-term cost of, say, poor integration if vendor A wasn't as good.
Right.
The time my team would waste fixing problems.
The internal stress, the potential damage to our own output.
Yeah, and maybe it would check against our company value of, like, quality first or strong partnerships.
Exactly. So the wise decision, looking back, might actually have been vendor B, recognizing that higher quality, even if it costs more up front, is often cheaper and definitely more sustainable in the long run.
Right. And the goal here isn't to beat yourself up about the past decision.
Not at all. The goal is calibration. It's training that discernment muscle, learning to habitually check for moral clarity, long-term perspective, maybe even humility before you commit to a choice,
Yeah.
especially when the pressure's on.
Training the muscle. I like that.
And finally, the source brings us back to what it considers the ultimate origin point for this kind of enduring wisdom. It quotes Proverbs 9:10, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom."
Okay.
And for a professional leader, regardless of personal belief, this doesn't necessarily mean, cowering terror. It's more about reverent awe, maybe a submission to the idea that there are higher moral principles, maybe even natural laws governing things, something bigger than just us or the current market trend.
It grounds the whole discussion in something beyond just temporary human opinion, in potentially universal truth.
Right. And there's also this beautiful, very practical promise offered in James 1.5, which makes wisdom feel accessible, not just for, ancient kings.
Let's.
If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. It's framed as an open invitation. Seek this discerning quality actively. Ask for it.
It suggests wisdom isn't just innate, it can be sought and received.
That seems to be the idea. And leaders who consistently cultivate this, who seek this discernment, they build trust, they build resilience, they build authentic impact in a way that mere cleverness or intelligence just never can.
They lead with conviction, maybe even a sense of peace, knowing their decisions are anchored to something solid, even when everything around them is, well, VUCA.
Exactly. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. Wisdom is the anchor.
So wrapping up our deep dive today, we've really established that in this age obsessed with speed, with data, with efficiency, wisdom, that ability to discern what's right, what's true, what will endure, it's the ultimate differentiator.
It really is. It's the master key, perhaps, to moving beyond just temporary success towards real significance, real legacy.
It's the difference between just managing one crisis until the next one inevitably hits,
Yeah.
and actually transforming challenges into opportunities for genuine growth, for ethical stability, for building something that lasts.
Well said.
So here's the provocative thought we want to leave you with today. Something to maybe mull over as you step back into your work, your life. If the scoreboard of your life and your leadership was calibrated entirely by wisdom, not by success metrics, not revenue, not efficiency, what single thing would you choose to change tomorrow morning?